Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown. We are two entertainment news journalists that have more than 2 decades of experience here to tell you everything that's going on in pop culture, because this is our Raw Rundown. We give you the top 10 stories of the week. Over there is Dax Holtz. I am Adam Glenn.
Yo.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's Friday, so always love a Friday. Ready for the weekend. Dude, I'm like such an old man though. Like I woke up like everything's hurting today. I don't know what's happening. It's just like, do you ever have those days where just shit hurts and you don't even know why, and that's when you realize like I'm old.
You want to know something, Dax? I have like a lingering elbow injury. And how did I get the elbow injury? It was from trying to get out of bed when I had COVID. I had COVID that bad that when I was trying to get out of bed, I did something to my elbow. When I bench press, I feel it. So when I put my arm in, I might have to get like an MRI on it. Like
I know,
I don't know what to do.
Dude, my shoulder, it literally, I think it was from sleeping on my arm that now I have like a lingering shoulder injury that will not go away. And it's from sleeping wrong on it. Like, what is happening to us, Adam?
See, that's why I wish, these are the times when I wish I was a celebrity, because you could just be like, oh, I'll just go get stem cell, which is a very expensive, but works. And these people get it like it's aspirin. It's like, yeah, I'll spend a couple grand real quick, or I'll do an Instagram post for this doctor.
So not that we're a celebrity, we just want to be rich, is what you're saying.
I need some money. I saw some money this week, Dax. Who did I run into this week? I saw Maren Morris in person, Dax, this week.
Yeah.
Maren Morris, I ran into. I didn't even go up to her, but I saw her. I thought was a little girl. I'm not even joking, Dax. I see her outside of a hotel, and she's with this woman, blonde woman. I thought that was the girl's mom. I thought it was a young girl and her mom. I'm not even joking. And then I'm like, who could that be? And then all of a sudden I told my buddy, I was like, yeah, someone walked in. He's like, yeah, I think that could have been Maren Morris. She's in town. I was like, get out. 10 minutes later, she came out, and she's like 4'10". I don't even know. She's so tiny. And then all of a sudden she came out and was smoking cigarettes. She kept smoking, and she smoked like 3 cigarettes in a row. And I was almost like, why are you so stressed out? But like, it's weird to see this like little girl who looks so young, and she's not. I mean, she is young, but she's got a kid. But she was just smoking like 3 cigarettes in a row. I saw Maren Morris this week. I ran into just random spotting. I was walking, and all of a sudden this black SUV pulls up like real quick. And anytime you see black SUVs, for me, at least in New York City, and if they're like kind
your
of
radar goes off, your celeb radar.
I pull my camera out, I'm ready to go down, and Mark Hoppus from Blink-182.
That's a dope one.
So I saw him, and I've gotten him before, and he was really nice. This time he was sort of quick, and I was sort of surprised because he was like in book press mode, like he's in New York promoting a book. So I was surprised he wasn't like giving me like better answers. But one time I got him, he was like super cool. This is like the second time I got him. And then who else I ran into this week? Saw Max Greenfield from How I Met Your Mother. Did you watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that show, and not that it was bad. I just didn't watch it, so I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, no, I get it. It was a great show. It was a really good show. I don't know if it was one of the shows I need to watch every week, but when I did watch, I was like, oh, this is like a nice, fun show. It's almost like a new version of Friends. The characters on the show are really kind of interesting and unique, but like it was a really good show. He was super nice. I saw him must have stopped for probably like, I'm not gonna say 100 people, but it had to have been over 50 at least people. Like stop and take a photo with people leaving the Madison Square Garden. I was outside the Knicks game.
Adam, I want to tell you about a show that I'm watching.
Okay.
It's called Adolescence on Netflix. Have you heard of it?
I tried watching it.
You didn't like it?
Too slow.
Really?
Very slow. I couldn't get through the first episode. First of all,
I think it's super interesting so far. I'm only on the second episode, so I know like halfway through. But it's really fascinating how they film this thing. It is all in one take. Did you even notice that while you're watching it?
So if you like something that's shot in all one take, watch The Studio. The Studio is shot that way, and that's part of what makes me like The Studio.
So then why didn't you like Adolescence? I mean, it's the same thing.
The accents, I couldn't understand it,
I will say that we are watching it with subtitles, even though they're speaking English. I still have to watch with subtitles on because I'm like, I lose quite a few of the words, so I have to kind of like read it a little bit. But I don't know. It's something about this new style that a lot of people are doing. Remember, they did it. Ryan Murphy did it in the new Menendez show, where it was all one take through the entire hour. The Adolescence is doing it, and the whole time I'm just like, how does this cameraman walk backwards, nowhere to go? How do all the actors not mess anything up? Like, that's crazy. You slip up on one line and you mess up the entire shoot.
Yeah,
and it's insane.
I remember they did that in Birdman with Michael Keaton, which I thought was a really fun movie. I thought Birdman was really great. That's what
They did
actually
the
what made,
whole movie in one shoot.
not the whole movie, but they did just a different sort of thing where a lot of the movie was shot in longer takes, which I respect, and it makes it visually makes it a little bit different. But I tried watching. The problem is shows like I don't just sit there in front of the TV and just watch TV. I usually have my laptop in front of me, so I'm doing work as I watch TV. So it's hard for me to read subtitles and follow the show. Again, it went a little too slow for me.
Well,
One
it's
last
also
thing.
hard for you to just read in general, so that would be the other part.
That is true. It's hard for me to read, and it's hard for you to pronounce words. So it's that's what we have. That's what makes this a good
That's why we have
podcast
a
duo.
podcast.
Exactly, exactly. One other thing, you know who I saw this week, which it's still unique to see them in person. I saw Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's cool to see Hollywood couples together, and they're so like small.
Yeah,
And not in a
both of
bad
them
way. Like,
are.
they're both shorter people. But it was like cool to see like it's one thing if you just see Selena, and then it's one thing if you just see Benny. But when you see them together, it makes it very cool to see them in person. And honestly, it was like
Does
4 seconds, but they have heavy security with them. Like they are security treats them like the biggest people out there, which I guess they are. I'm not
they're,
that.
they're a big deal. Here's a question for you. You always talk about how celebs have this like aura around them, or that star power, that quality. Does Selena Gomez have that when she walks around? Because I picture her being one of those people when she walks into the room, it like enlights a room. Is that a word? Enlights?
Yeah, no. Good question. Here's the thing. It's not like I'm not a Selena fan. It's not what I grew up on. And you can say the same thing about Miley Cyrus. I didn't grow up on Miley Cyrus. But when you see Miley, like, oh, that's a star. When I see Selena, I'm like, oh, it's Selena Gomez. And I've seen her before. It wasn't. I'm almost more wowed by Benny Blanco. And it sounds crazy because,
What?
yeah, it's not because Benny to me is just a very unique person. He's worked with a lot of people. So there's something about him that all these celebrities, musicians are attracted to.
Well, I mean, he's got to have something. He got Selena Gomez.
Well, he's got some,
So,
but yeah, but that's I mean, not just Selena Gomez attracts, but like other celebrities are attracted to him to work with him. That's what's made him. And so I'm more like curious and fascinated by him. Like, this guy is like a charismatic guy, but he's got some personality that people kind of gravitate towards. I think he almost has like that it factor, almost more than Selena. And that's nothing against Selena. It's just he's got this like for a small guy, not saying for a shorter guy he's got like his like confidence, this inner confidence. Not saying Selena doesn't, but it's just a little different for me. But yeah. All right, let's before we get to the Raw rundown, the top 10 stories of the week, Dax and I were just BSing about each other this week. The top 10 stories, how do we pick them? It goes by Google search, it goes by data, and lastly it goes by our personal opinions, but ultimately comes down to what people are clicking on. Before we get to that, if you guys leave us reviews, we read them on air. And it's our way to giving you some love because you gave us some love. It's one big love fest. Dax, do you have a review that you can read for us?
I got one. All right. This one comes from Carnosis, maybe? Sicarnis?
I told you, the guy can't. Yeah.
I can't pronounce. You all know that, though. Favorite podcast, 5 stars. This has by far become my favorite podcast. The two of you are so honest and real, truly refreshing. Love you both, with a little red heart emoji. Thank you, C. Coronis.
We love you back. Thank you for the feedback and just taking a few seconds to give us that. It really helps us out in the algorithms. All right, let's get to the Raw rundown, starting with number 10.
Number 10, Brooks Nader dumps Gleb Savchenko.
Is
I
that the
guess there
name?
was some.
Is that how we
I
say
don't
it?
know.
Okay.
I rolled with it to try to sound confident
Just call it.
in the
Yeah.
way that I knew how to pronounce his name, even though I actually have absolutely no idea. But Brooks dumped Gleb. Is that good enough?
Sounds good.
All right. Claims that he had actually cheated on her, and that's coming from an exclusive source to People Magazine. But they've split for the second time. This is a couple, they met while they were partnered on season 33 of Dancing with the Stars. And now they have gone their separate ways. And I mean, they have been able to keep their name in the headlines for quite some time, getting together, breaking it off, getting together, breaking it off. I guess a rep for Gleb had said that there was no comment. But there has been speculation that there was some sort of infidelity in the relationship. No proof of that at this moment, but I'm sure we will hear all about it because Brooks knows how to keep her name in the headlines, and we've said that before. And she even accepted our thirstiest celeb of the year award. She accepted it on TikTok, and we greatly appreciate that. But it sounds like things have officially gone south for them.
Actually, obviously said Brooke is very big on the setup shots. It's I was talking to two photographers this week, and I even said to them this week, I was like, "Hey, Sierra's around." They're like, "Oh, don't even go for her. She only does her shots with this photographer." I'm like, "What?" It's wild
Really?
how many people are just doing setup shots these days. Even here's a blind item for you. Two female podcasters, very popular, very big, just did set up paparazzi shots this week. And the thing is, though, I want to know who's organizing the paparazzi setup shots. Is it them? Is it
But
their
why does that have to be
publicist?
a blind item? You always talk about this stuff.
I don't want to say their name because I'm trying to get them. I don't want to start a beef with them because they have a bigger microphone than us, and I'm trying to get them this week. But I'll let the people figure it out. It's not. They're just two people. Like they're all trying to work it, and I get it. I get it. But it's funny. I asked the photographer how it went, the setup shot with these two girls, and they said honestly, they kept looking down. It's like please look up, like look up, and they were just getting really mad that they kept looking
So they
down.
weren't used to doing the setup shots, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
according to them, and he's like, I don't want
Because
to coach them, but he's like, I don't want to
yeah,
come off as a yeah.
when celebs do setup shots, they need to, I mean, it all counts. Don't look at the camera, but like look off into the distance as if you're doing something. But if your head's down, the photo's pointless to them, essentially.
Pretty much. So they were like kind of upset with it, like, ugh, this is not good. But yeah, it's Brooks is very good. I'm sure somehow this story of the breakup is going to sort of stay in the news cycle for a little bit longer. What happened?
I'm
What
so
exactly went down?
excited. I
She will
hope it
find
stays in there for months.
if this is a real breakup. My prediction right now, we're saying this on April 8th, whatever, 9th, whatever,
10th.
10th. She will find a guy by June. We'll see your photograph with the new guy before June 1st.
I agree with that. I concur.
All right, Dex, number 9.
Oh man, the new Snow White movie has just bombed this past weekend in the box office. It has been a pretty crappy opening. I think it brought in about $43 million domestically. It was projected for about $85 million. And it really comes to the fact that they did a horrible job promoting this. Rachel Zegler not only kind of like trashed the movie before it, kind of like talk crap on the original Snow White, which lesson to be told to any celeb out there that is doing a remake or a live action of a Disney movie: don't trash the original. There's a reason that you're doing the movies, because it's been loved and beloved by millions and millions of people for years and years and years. So don't trash it, even if you're switching up the storyline. I think switching up the storyline a little bit also kind of hindered the movie. She had said some comments at the beginning. She came out as very pro-Palestinian, which did not go well for her. And not only that, she's co-starring with Gal Gadot, who is Israeli. So there was some tension between the two of them. So a lot of issues kind of plagued this movie. And then we saw it reflected in the box office numbers here. So I think there was just misstep after misstep, not only by Disney, but then by Rachel herself. And that's a pretty big blow to the box office.
Yeah, critics, pretty much accused her of being ungrateful for the role, pushing this woke agenda. and then also like disrespecting like the Disney fan base and legacy. She doesn't probably think she did anything wrong, but young girl. The movie itself made what they're saying. What I've read is made $169 million globally, placing it sixth among the highest grossing films of 2025 to date. So it made 169 million.
Yeah, but we're
But
in
if
April.
yeah,
It's not that long into 2025.
true. But the figure, I made 169 million, but it fell short of the initial projections, leading to an estimated $115 million loss for Disney.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Wow.
this movie should already be in the $250 million mark. The amount of money that it takes to make one of these movies is incredible, and so it's got a lot of catching up to do for it to even like break even at this point.
Yeah, Disney anticipated a lot of success from this movie. It just
And then do you remember
became
they
a
like
huge problem.
they they hid the red carpet, they didn't allow press at the red carpet, it was like photos only. I mean, there was just one thing after another that I bet Disney was like, God damn, I just wish we either cast different people or had done the movie differently because there was too many problems with it.
So there was a story that the producer's son mentioned something on social media that and he says, "Hey, when your father has to fly across the country within and rush and fly across the country to tell the star of a movie to just be quiet, that's
And that was
it was
about
just
Rachel.
about Rachel, which
Well,
is a pretty
Rachel, she
thing."
went after Trump, she went after Israel. I mean, listen, I'm all about a celeb taking a point of view and, using their platform for whatever message they want to get across. But you also have to realize the implications that it will have on your job. Just like any job, if you go out and you start talking about things that are very polarizing out there, it can hurt you because you're going to alienate 50% of your fan base when it's such a polarizing topic. So I would say just be careful what you say in any job, especially when you are the face of a franchise.
Dax, if you're putting a movie together and they say, "All right, who do you want for this role?" Would you give her an audition for a role if you had a movie coming on right now?
It would be tough because I'd be like, she seems kind of like a loose cannon, and again, I think it's good for people to be able to say their views, but when you're trying to promote a movie, as the studio head, the person backing the person putting the money behind it, I would be like, can you not right now? Can you let us get this movie out? Can you let us do our thing without you? It's just like if a celeb's talking another hot topic like abortion or I don't know, something else in there that it's going to piss people off. Just can you keep it to yourself for a little bit so we can get this movie out since I'm spending all the money here?
Yeah, I'm looking at her Wikipedia right now. I should probably look at her IMDb, but she has no other movies that are set to come out coming up. I think in the future, I think before she even gets a role, I think her agents now have to say and have a conversation with the film and stuff, saying, "Listen, she says she won't speak up, she won't do that." I don't know. I wonder what goes on behind the scenes in order to get her work, or if the agents say, "You know what, we're just gonna put our attention or energy towards another actor or something like that." Listen, I'm all about people speaking up. She hasn't really done a ton for someone who, like,
That's the other thing. You also have to get to a level where you can say stuff without it backfiring on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to build that credibility in Hollywood. But I think there's also a reason that you don't hear from Brad Pitt or these big huge movie stars because they know where to stay in their lane.
yeah,
And
she's
sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to hear from celebs. Like, thanks for your opinion. Don't give a shit. You don't live in the same world that I live in regards to wealth and just your daily life is very different. I don't want to hear your opinion sometimes.
I will say this though, Dax, in her defense, and it's not even a defense. She's 23 years old. She's still a
Yeah.
kid. Like she has no idea really what's going on. Her world has changed like an insane amount in the past few years, where everything is spinning. Her feet aren't on the ground. It's got to be a very surreal thing. She's
Yeah.
23, but weird situation there. Dax number 8.
Number 8, Roger Norris, who is Liam Payne's best friend, the guy that was down in Argentina with him. right before he had passed away, falling off that balcony. Well, Roger now has dropped his defamation lawsuit against Liam's father. If you remember, Liam's father really was pointing a lot of blame at Roger for Liam's death, and it was looking really bad for him. Well, Roger Norris has now decided to drop that $10 million defamation lawsuit against Jeff Payne. Basically, this decision comes after Norris was cleared of manslaughter charges. Remember, he was facing a lot of the culpability of Liam's death. Well, they have now cleared him of manslaughter charges. And so that was a huge, huge win for Roger, because the whole time he was saying, listen, I was down there, I was this one, but I wasn't the sole person responsible. I didn't need to be there every moment of the day to watch after this guy. Like, why are you blaming me for his death? Because I stepped out, he passed away. Don't blame me. And so he really, Roger had basically said, like, I just want to move forward. I have no grudges towards Jeff. He acknowledged that Jeff is obviously going through a ton of grief right now, experiencing that he really couldn't imagine, and that he said, I'm going to drop this lawsuit against Jeff and hopefully get a public apology. So he basically said his primary goal was to just clear his name and not seek any kind of financial compensation. He's like, I don't want money from him. I just don't want my name associated with my best friend's death.
It's still crazy to me that a member of One Direction passed away. It's still a very weird thing to kind of really take in, because it's like, wow. And you still see photos of Harry Styles walking around, and I'm curious when those guys are initially going to do their first interview regarding the situation. But it's still a huge deal. Do you feel like, I feel like this story kind of came and went a little bit about his death, but I'm surprised.
No, what are you talking about? I feel like we talked about this for weeks and weeks and weeks.
We did like 6 weeks. That's 6 weeks we did. But
I would say more than that. Every detail was combed over.
Udo, we went over because there was a lot of speculations who was responsible for this. Obviously we're talking about this now, about who was responsible for the death, but not about what actually went down. It's just about the loss of him, not about how it went down. It's just the loss of him, because, again, this is I don't want to say one of the biggest boy bands of all time. It was a big boy band of a certain generation, of a certain time. It was
one of the biggest boy bands of all time, for sure.
I think they weren't around long enough.
There's probably 4 you could say is the biggest boy band.
Okay, who are they?
One Direction, Backstreet, NSYNC, and definitely 98 Degrees.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I was like counting my hand, and I'd be like, wait, what?
No, I think you could probably add Menudo in there as well.
Yeah, Menudo, but do you put, is JoJo, like, how do you consider a label? What's the difference between a boy band and like these R&B groups? Like, what was the one that Bobby Brown was in? Belle Biv DeVoe? Was that a boy band?
I don't know.
It's hard to define. Like, what do you
like, are the Beatles considered a boy band? Because they were super young.
It's a weird thing. I almost think the boy band thing is like it's a good thing. It's a marketing. It's a marketing tool. Boy bands are weird though, because
girl bands work too. If you think about it, where you got like Destiny's Child, TLC, they were girl bands. It was essentially the exact same thing, just with women.
But it's funny though. Like, I feel like this is how the boy band branding goes in. It goes, hey, here's a big boy band time right now, and then it goes away for about 8 years, and then boy bands come back, and then they go away for 8 years, and boy bands, and there's just always that flow of boy bands.
I think if you think about it, we're probably getting to that 8-year mark. So if you wanted to be a good music producer, go find them.
Well, now
it's that time.
We're in a weird thing now where it's K-pop boy bands. So we're involved with that generation right now. And then it'll quiet down. These guys will solo. We'll forget about them. We'll like, wait, which guy was that? And then they'll come back in another few years, and they just.
That's the one thing I didn't understand about like the newer boy bands. A lot of them look so effeminate that it's hard to tell them. Like, I thought, and it's like you look at them and you're like, oh, you're like wearing the earrings and stuff. I'm like, I don't get it, but
you're like, are you
into now?
Like, are you a boy band or lesbians? I don't know who you are. It's oh my god, it's so funny. Like they just keep getting more and more. That's boy bands have to be feminine. I think that's really they never come out with like masculine type stuff. Like I guess
Well,
they hit
that's the
that.
thing. Like, I look at BTS and they're very effeminate, but I'm like, I guess what people are into. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old for this shit.
Yeah, but you know what? We do like boy bands. Like I think Backstreet Boys, not like they had ever a fallback, but I think now more than ever, I think people are starting to appreciate how good the actual music was. Like you
Hmm.
look back, like man, that was a good song.
That
Like
was a good
you used to
banger.
make fun
Yeah.
of it maybe when it came out on TRL back in the day because you were in high school or in college, whatever it was. But now it's like, yeah, that's a good song. Like there was
You
some fun
are
music.
my
Man,
fire,
you were one of those
my
guys who called
one
in TRL, didn't you? You were voting for that,
desire.
and you also were non-chorused. So it's you know, you know,
All
what I
right,
should
let's move on.
actually, when I asked Mark Hoppus this week, I should have asked him because he made really good music videos. I said,
Hmm.
how important are music videos to make now than it was, obviously back in the day, TRL days, music
It's
videos are a
not.
big deal. Now, is it even worth
No,
making a
there's
music
no
video?
point. Don't waste your money on a music video. Spend your time getting some trend going on TikTok. That's what you need to do because that's when now you start like back in the day, you would turn on MTV, you would hear the song, you'd start to like it. Now everyone hears these TikTok songs over and over again. They start to like it, they make it to radio. So, or playlists or whatever. So I would say spend your time cultivating that TikTok audience and utilizing the songs. That's what a lot of the big stars like. If you watch what's his name? What's his name? Benny.
Benny Blanco? No.
No. Oh my God, Benny Boone. What is his
Oh yeah,
name?
Benson Boone.
Benson Boone. God, I couldn't remember his name. He's really good on TikTok as well because he uses his songs over and over and over again, and it makes them big. And some of these big stars are doing that. They're up and coming, just using TikTok to their
You know, it's,
advantage.
but I get these emails because I'm a TikTok creator, and I get these emails every week. Hey, you can make up to $8,000 if you use this song in a video. So I guess some of these music companies, and again, I'm just putting this out there. I'm assuming I don't know if this is true, but these companies are paying TikTok or something, a marketing company, say, hey, start to use our song, and we'll invest money into the creators that use
Yeah.
this song.
Yep.
Could be wrong, but I don't know. All right, Dex, number 7.
Mickey Rourke getting a formal warning this week from producers of the UK Celebrity Big Brother. He made some comments about JoJo Siwa, which were considered offensive and unacceptable, quote unquote. Obviously Siwa is open that she is a lesbian and that she is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. And so he said, Rook called her not only a lesbian, but asked her if she likes boys or girls when they met on the show, and basically said, "I could tell." He answered, and then later he was hanging out with the cast in the yard, and he told Siwa, "If I stay any longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore." He said, "I guarantee you." I'm like, what? She
It's
said, "I
messed
can
up, but
guarantee you, I will still be gay, and I will still be in a very happy relationship." She laughed. Rourke then joked that he might tie her up, and Siwa joked back that she dared him to try. So here's the thing: isn't this why you put Mickey Rourke on Celebrity Big Brother? Because you want crazy shit said?
yeah, I would assume like that's why you put JoJo on because you want cringe. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess at one point he told one of the other cast members he planned to vote the lesbian out, and they basically called him homophobic and all this kind of stuff. And again, I feel like this is why you have these two on here for this reason, for us to be talking about it, to strum up publicity, to get people to tune in. Because when you hear Mickey Rourke is talking crazy, you're going to turn into Celebrity Big Brother, no?
I would assume so. That makes sense. I mean, it sounds like the UK is doing Big Brother better than we are doing here. I'm surprised that Mickey Rourke has
100%.
agreed to do something like this. But also the guy's got to pay his bills, and I haven't seen him work in so long because he's been. I used to see Mickey Rourke all the time. He used to
In New
live
York?
in New York, dude. So want to hear a crazy story? I used to hap him, put a camera on him all
Yeah.
the time. One day I saw him. He used to live on 14th and 9th, right in the middle of meatpacking. Really great place, and he was probably paying a ton of money for this place. And I saw him like 3 times in a day. Once I saw him walking in meatpacking, put a camera on. Then I ran into him again later on in the West Village. And then that night, I ran into him at this bar in the city, and he saw me, and I saw him, and I was like, Mick, I'm sorry, dude. I was just getting I'm just getting drinks. Have fun. Like, do you I'm not here for you. And he was like, don't worry about it, man. And then when I got around the drinks, I went to pay, and they're like, it's one's on Mick. And I was like, oh, that's
Wow,
pretty
he bought
cool.
you
He
drinks?
bought me
That's
drinks. And
cool.
I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. But yeah, interesting guy. Or were you a Mickey Rourke guy? Because he's had very random things in his career. He went up, and then he tried to become a boxer, and then that sort of screwed up his face. I mean, he was such a good looking
No,
guy.
the plastic surgery screwed up the face, not boxing, bro. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, I guess so. But he had reconstructive surgery. But that, he had a lot of injuries and stuff. But in his heyday, not saying he's not good looking now, but he was a very good looking
Yeah,
guy.
back in the
And
day, if you go Google young Mickey Rourke photos, the dude was like a heartbreaker back in the day.
great actor too. The Wrestler, great movie. Sin City, great movie. I think The Wrestler was a Darren Aronofsky movie. I think The Wrestler, but he was fantastic in it, and really he was perfect for the role. All right, number 6.
Ali Luber, she is opening up about the breakup from James
Yeah, so
Kennedy.
Ali Luber was dating James Kennedy. No one knows
Correct.
who Ali Luber is, but James
No,
Kennedy from Vanderpump Rules.
I feel like her name's gotten kind of big enough, right? No,
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 nobody.
not enough.
People know James Kennedy from Vanderpump Rules, which Vanderpump Rules, by the way, is whole new cast. They're starting to film the brand new show with a whole new cast, which I think is to be fantastic. It's a smart
You
move.
like the idea? I
I
always think it's
do.
a dumb move to do a full revamp on the cast.
It was
Like,
getting too weird because
what's the point of watching then? You have no attraction. Again, The Bachelor did that shit to me. They pulled in some Bachelor rather than pulling from the previous cast. It fucking lost me. So I don't know.
I think with the brand new cast of the Vanderpump Rules, I need to bring it back to, hey, these people actually work at a restaurant. I think these other ones were becoming too big as stars, and I didn't like that. It was become too much of a show around the show, and it has to come back to the roots. And also, I think, yeah, it was just getting too ridiculous. I thought it jumped the shark. So I'm glad to have a new version. But anyway, back to James Kennedy and Ali Luber, who nobody knows.
So Allie is now talking about her side of the story. She opened up. She's got a new podcast called Starstruck, and so she was talking about how they had just started recording the first episode of Starstruck, and that he was going to be the first guest. And I guess they had all this great energy this one week. And he'd struggled with alcohol for quite some time. He had gotten help, and so he was supposedly sober. And she said hours before his arrest, they were attending Kathy Hilton's annual Christmas party, and it was like everything was going really well. And then all of a sudden, that when she finished working, she came out to the party, and she was like, "Oh wow, his demeanor's really changed." It was kind of like, "Have you been drinking?" And although she was like suspicious, I guess he had said, "Oh no, I'm all good." And she realized, like, no, this guy is drunk. Like, there is something happening. That she accused him of being drunk, and then they started fighting. They ended up going back to her house, and that's where the cops were called out, not by one of them. At least that's not what it sounds. It sounds like by a neighbor or something, because they were screaming and fighting. And I guess someone had overheard them say that he picked her up and threw her down, but has since kind of been cleared, that it was only a verbal argument, that there was no actual laying hands on her, but the drinking was a non-negotiable in their relationship. That was something that had been put in between them, that said, like, look, if you start drinking, we can't be together. And once he started drinking again, that was the nail that broke the coffin. Is that the correct saying?
The nail that broke the coffin. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't know actually. The nail. I never used that. I've heard it, but I never used it. The nail.
The final nail that sealed the coffin. I don't know.
Somehow
Not supposed to use phrases if I don't know what the hell they mean.
Somehow Nick Viall is getting all these interviews, which I don't know why. I mean, I guess he's got an audience. Yeah. But yeah, Ali Luber is going out there trying to promote the podcast now. She felt now is the time to kind of talk about
Well, she was
what went
talking
down
about
that night.
this to people. Did she also go on Nick Viall's
Yeah, she went on
podcast?
Nick Viall. She's doing a bunch of like press now, I guess, to promote this
Mm.
podcast because what we need is another podcast out there. Now is a good so many people hit me up now and like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. I'm like, don't. I
Don't
promise you.
please. Everyone has a goddamn
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. I was
We
like,
don't
do
need any
something
more
else.
competition.
Start a book club. I don't know. Do something else. But yeah, James Kennedy has yet to respond about this, but he'll probably be very theatrical when he does respond. But he needs to respond when he needs something to promote. So he's now a DJ. Does well, I guess, as a DJ. I mean, people want to see these people in person. So all right, I got nothing else to say about this. But I'm glad she's in a good place, though. I'm glad she's happy. And good luck on our podcast. Dax number 5. This is a fun one.
This is a fun one. Caitlyn Bristowe, her former bachelorette, she went off on her ex, Jason Tartick, this week because, get this, he named his new dog her dream baby name. And so she was pissed.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
He got a new golden retriever, named it Teddy, talked about it on social media, and she came out after him. She was like, the hell are you doing? For years, we talked about naming our future child together Teddy because it was my dream baby name. And then you went off and you named your goddamn new golden retriever the name. And so she was very frustrated. She got a lot of backlash online from people being like, what the hell do you care? It's not your dog. You can still name your child that if you want to. I do feel like it's kind of a low blow. Like kind of a petty move on his part to name a dog after, a name that they had talked about for a long time. I don't know if he did it as a diss to her. So I can understand why she's mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it because he's going to put it out. And now she can't name a child because everyone's going to be like, oh, you named your child the same name as he named his dog. So it kind of eliminates the name from her choosing pool moving down. But
so when Jason does his first interview to kind of talk about this, because he hasn't commented on it yet, he's going to say, she might say that's her dream baby name, but he's going to say, no, we both love the name. We both decided that was a good name, and we're not together anymore. So I want to use the name for my current child, which is my dog. That's what he's going to say. He's also going to say, yeah, she could still use the name Teddy. But I do know that
she can't name a child Teddy now.
She can. It's like, listen, you're in love with someone else now. You guys are totally living separate lives.
I get it, but she can't name a child that at this point. Like, there's no way.
He's gonna just say, "Hey, we both love the name. We're not together. She could do what she wants, and it is what it is." I do know these.
Dig?
I think there might have been some spite there because I know these two do not. They both dislike each other a lot. There's not really public evidence. I know from my sources, that Jason has some ill will towards Caitlyn. They two broke up in August, like 2 years ago now, I guess. And Bristowe has publicly expressed feelings of being disrespected and used during their relationship. She's mentioned financial disagreements, feeling unsupported by Tartick post-breakup, and being upset over his choice to name his new dog Teddy, of course. So that's, but yeah, these two don't like each other. This has nothing to do with the story. Here's my question with Caitlyn. I want to know where Caitlyn's relationship is with Tayshia now, because Caitlyn is definitely dating Tayshia Adams. Tayshia Adams was a bachelorette. Caitlyn and Tayshia both hosted The Bachelor together for a season. So they were doing press together, hanging out together. They hosted a show together. But where's the relationship stand now? That's what I'm curious on, because Caitlyn now dates Tayshia Tayshia's ex, which she hasn't spoken about that.
Okay.
She just did like a tell-all on her podcast where she's like, ask me anything, but she did not talk about that. And everyone knows what's going on. So very weird.
Yeah. You think they don't get along, right?
Tayshia sucks. Tayshia was one of the worst. Yeah, she's not a good. I've said it before. I said that.
Not a Tayshia fan.
I said it 3 years ago. Like when we did an episode, was like, who was your worst celebrity run-ins of the year? And I said Tayshia, and somehow that got a lot of press. And yeah, she was terrible. And then the second time I ran into her, she was a little bit nicer because she was with Caitlyn and she had to be nice. So, yeah. Dax, number 4.
A little White Lotus drama. Everyone's obviously super into White Lotus right now, but the creator, Mike White, did not hold back when he was asked about this whole alleged feud between him and the composer, Cristobal Tapadivier. I don't know if that's how you say his name because I don't know how to say any names. But he did not like that Cristobal went and spoke to the media days before the show's season finale. He actually called it a bitch move. So he called into the Howard Stern show on Tuesday and was asked about like what happened with him and the composer, who publicly announced in an interview with the New York Times that he would not be returning for a 4th season of the show, and hinted that there was basically an issue between the creator and himself. And he goes, look, I just don't think he respected me. He wants people to know that he's edgy and dark. And I'm like, I don't know. I watch reality TV. He told Howard Stern. And so, he basically went through the whole thing and was like, look, the music, it wasn't working. We had a disagreement, but like at the end of the day, like you're working on a hit show. Just like, let's just put our shit behind us and move forward. You're good at what you do. We're good at doing the show. Like, let's just compromise like anyone else does in any other work situation, rather than quit and then like go and air out all of our dirty laundry to the media. He's like, let's just work together. And it clearly didn't happen. They've got issues. And then the composer has gone on social media and says, look, I've got all these receipts. I've got this proof of everything that, you're going to have a full story. But like, really, could there be anything that exciting in here that is going to entice people that much? Like, oh, he didn't like the music. Oh, I wanted to make different music. Who the fuck cares at the end of the day?
Well, I'm curious how this. Obviously, this guy's not going to stick around with the show. The next season, will we notice a difference with the music that goes along with it? I'm assuming that this guy doesn't own the rights to the song he made, the White Lotus theme song. That that you hear it on TikTok all the time. So I'm assuming he doesn't own the rights to that song. So White Lotus will use the current theme song, but will you notice different music? And it will show you if this composer is really as good as he is, or if anybody.
But at the same time, that's the thing. White Lotus is going to have the budget now that they can get someone else on the show. Like, you gave up a good opportunity. And that's the thing. Creatives have a hard time listening to critiques sometimes. And I think that's what this comes down to, is pride got involved. They didn't like what he had come up with, and he was not happy with it. It's just, why give up a really good opportunity? I don't know.
Yeah, but like you said, it's the creatives are just very hard. They have a vision, and that's what makes them good. Unfortunately, sometimes in a business, it doesn't really work out that well when you're working as a team. All right, number 3.
Britney Spears and Paul Soles. They broke up for Solis.
Yeah.
Soles.
Solis.
Paul Solis. They broke up for the second. I'm going to try it again. Britney Spears and Paul Soles, they broke up for the second time now. It actually feels more like the 10th time. But they have been on and off again. She dumped him several weeks ago, right around Valentine's Day is what it's sounding like, but we're just kind of hearing about it now. They did split for the first time in July 2024 and then reconciled again. And now they are apparently off again. I don't think I care.
Yeah, here's the one thing I'm surprised with Britney. When you look at her dating history, she hasn't dated that many celebrities. It's very regular people.
It's Justin Timberlake. That's like
Justin.
Oh, and Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell was a hookup. We don't know if it was a hookup, but besides that, it was like regular people, like very common folk, which is just surprising.
But it was one thing that I liked about her was that she was one of the biggest stars on the planet, and would still date normal people. But even when I say normal, like, do you consider K-Fed normal? But she wasn't dating these big celebrities, which she could have back in the day.
Yeah, it was interesting to see this guy Paul driving around in her cars. Like, this guy looked like, I mean, he wasn't a looker in my opinion. I mean, this guy looked like he would be.
He literally looked like the maintenance man, which he was. and happened to bag Britney. And then she would go out. You remember there was all these photos and videos of her taking his kids to, Sky Zone
Yeah.
and this and that. And he had like a lot of kids, if I remember correctly. He had like, I don't remember how many, but quite a few kids.
Yeah.
I always find the whole thing interesting.
Yeah, we'll see who she dates next. Which worker of hers will she become the new? But Britney's on the market again. Maybe they should just make Britney a dating. They should make a TV show around Britney and her dating, like a dating show for Britney. I
No,
think that could be fun, or that'd be
it's
really
so
bad
sad.
and sad.
This whole Britney thing is so sad. Every time I talk about it, it's like cringe. I'm like, just stop.
Yeah, I think at this
Stop.
point, I think you see the writing on the wall. Something's not right here. Number 2.
Justin Baldoni's got a huge fan sitting behind bars by the name of Harvey Weinstein, which I don't think that that's someone that you want like cheering you on, but maybe I'm wrong. But basically Harvey is saying, yes, he's looking at this whole legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and saying that he's applauding him for, filing that $250 million defamation lawsuit against not only her, but the newspaper, the New York Times. He said, watching Justin Baldoni take legal action against the New York Times and its reporters, accusing them of manipulating communications and ignoring evidence that is countered by Miss Lively's claims, hit me hard. He said, it brought me back to everything I experienced when the Times reported on me in 2017. And he goes, they did the same thing, cherry-picked what fit the story and ignored critical context and facts that could have challenged the narrative. So he's basically saying, like, I can relate because my life went down the same path. And so good job for Justin for standing up for himself. And I'm thinking Justin's probably going,
No.
I got this, Mr. Weinstein. Please stop talking. I do not want your praise. And even if it's like helpful or you can understand, I don't want you to speak up.
And just about Baldoni just has to read the headline. Harvey Weinstein says, I can relate. No, like there's no.
No.
This is totally different. This is totally different. Harvey Weinstein, man, the guy has so much money that he's able to just put out this kind of stuff and just talk about this.
But how does this man have any money left with? Think how much lawyers cost. And he has been in and out of courtrooms over the last, couple years. And he's behind bars and he's paying these lawyers, which is, I feel like, an uphill, never-ending battle. And so you're just handing over your money to your law firm.
Yeah, but also like the kids, like his kids got to be like, please stop spending your money. You're costing us money. Like this is money you can be given to us, but you're just burning money.
That's a good question. Do you think Harvey Weinstein's kids are like, yes, we want their dad to fight for freedom or to stop fighting so that they can have some inheritance money at the end of the day? It's a waste of money.
They're like, man, that just cost me a vacation. Oh, that just cost me. So yeah, but just about it's crazy. This story get a lot of traffic, and I just think it's such a wild statement for Harvey Weinstein saying, Justin Baldoni, I can relate. But I think it's more about his beef with the New York Times rather than the accusations. I will say that
it's more he hates the New York Times so much for everything that they reported on him that he feels like that initial kind of piece that they put out that was all Blake's side. Yeah. That's the one that he feels like, oh, they did a hit piece on both of them.
I don't disagree with Harvey Weinstein entirely. And I say that because the New York Times has gotten very biased when it comes to stories. Like I used to love the New York Times, but now it's become you're reading almost like like an agenda sort of story, or it's not good. The New York Times now these days. Still prestigious. I would love to be in it. Just not a fan of the product they're putting out there. Dax, the number 1 story of the week.
Justin Bieber went off on Paparazzi this weekend saying basically that they don't care about people. All they want is money. He was in Palm Springs. This is ahead of Coachella. And so, he obviously goes to Coachella every year. He's a big fan of Coachella, and there were some cameras that got in his face, and he just started screaming at them, saying, you just want money, and he was kind of making the money sign, being money with his fingers, blocking his face, and he says, just get out of here. Money's all you want. You don't care about human beings. And the Paps were, I think, number one, caught off guard, but then also it makes them continue filming because now you've got a story. Now you've got something worth selling the second a celeb is kind of going off. So it's kind of interesting how Bieber's reaction actually gains them more money in the long run.
Yeah, I get it. They're like, if you're a paparazzi, it's gotta be. I've been in those situations. It gets very difficult because you sort of want to put the phone down. However, it's like, oh, now you actually just made me money, because him just going in to get a coffee, there's no money. But once he starts to engage with them, then that's like, okay, we got the clip, and that clip is everywhere now. I'm sure these guys made a lot of money on it. And do they care about Justin? Probably not. They're probably just trying to say, hey, this is what I have to do to eat. I understand. I see the paparazzi side. I also see Justin's side. It's just, it is what it is. It's
well, this comes.
But I will say this: by you, Justin, fueling the machine, you're just making these guys come out more and more. So that's what it is.
Now there's going to be more people that are following him around Coachella because he gave out a reaction. I can probably get another reaction. And less than a month ago, he admitted that he has anger issues. He did like this kind of cryptic post online. He said, I got anger issues too, but I want to grow and not react so much, shaking my head. And then he does this, and it doesn't help the case. And I have to imagine, I feel bad for him that his entire life has been cameras up in his face, people always watching everything he does. I do have compassion for him. I think you've made it worse on yourself by having the outburst, unfortunately. And I will never be able to put myself in his shoes. I can't imagine what he's gone through, but it doesn't help the situation when he has these outbursts.
Sure, it's a difficult situation. And I say this because, like, when you're around, I've been around them a few times, you could honestly feel and also see that he just wants to be sort of not left alone, left alone, but just normal. He wants to be able to just kind of live in peace and not feel that he's looked at all the time. But
that ship sailed a long time ago.
You can't wear pants that are size 7XL and expect people not to look at you. If you want people to look, just like you sort of dress around like you look like E.T. when we put on like the wig and stuff like that, all those weird costumes. Like, it was like, no, that's sort of unique. And I get it. You're a rock star. You do make it look cool. However, it goes hand in hand.
I'd love to have a glimpse for like 30 years into the future and just see, what does Justin Bieber look like? How did he age? Did he, is he still famous at that point? It'd be so interesting.
I always had a thing where I would love to look at a celebrity's phone and see who was the last 20 text messages with. I think it'd be just
like, are they anyone interesting? You just want to know if there's other celebs, right?
If there are other celebs,
what if it's just like,
even if it's 8
dad,
I want to know.
Mom, grandma, like, that'd be kind of boring.
Yeah. All right, that is the random. That is our Raw Rundown. We give you the top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow our private Facebook group called Off the Record. It's a fun community. We all talk to each other. Follow me at Adam Glenn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily. Hurry up. Come on, let's go.